Hello, I would wish to take you through computer studies project the year 2019. Therefore, the instructions were you are supposed to use a database management system of which I will use Microsoft Access. Therefore, this is our system. We are creating a school prefects, that is a prefects electoral system, and the title will be Rehema School. Therefore, Rehema School is a day school with 5 streams. Therefore, you have 5 streams, each Form 1, Form 2, up to Form 4. And then there are levels of leadership. We have head boy, head girl, dining hall, captain, games, library, etc. And therefore, there are some instructions all over this. These are the instructions that we are supposed to follow. I will paste the instructions on my description on my video down there. Then let's go to the objectives. Therefore, develop a well-documented computerized prefects election system. Therefore, computerized prefects election system that will maintain record of classes and their respective class teachers, list of contestants, list of electoral positions, list of students per class, list of proposers and seconders, then results for each level. Therefore, this first part here up to part 5, we are supposed to create tables. Then wherever you see compute, we are supposed to use queries. That is, we can have select query, cross tab query, update query, make table query, union queries used here. Then generate. Once you see generate, we are talking of reports. And therefore, this is the easiest part since it will depend on queries and tables. Therefore, let's begin by starting by creating the required tables. Therefore, the required tables are, let's go on. Therefore, you will create a database. You right click, you go to new, then you go to Microsoft Access database. Once you go to Microsoft Access database, we shall create it on our desktop. We shall just call it the way it is supposed to be. That is Rehema School Prefects Electoral System. Then we click on create. Now once we click on create, then we need to go and start creating tables. Therefore, we shall create our first table. Okay, our first table will be contestants table. You can click on we give the ID. Then this one should be auto number and the primary key there. Then we can have the post. Then we can save that one as electoral post. Then we run. Therefore, we have head boy, we have head girl, we have DH captain, that is dining hall. Then we have library, we have games. Then we have class prefect, class prefect. Then we have school, that is we have form captain. Therefore that is our first table. Therefore we shall have that table there with those ones. Therefore this is the electoral posts. Then we can go on and have our next table. We go and create, then we go to table design. We create our next table. Now our next table can be class teacher. Teacher ID. You can just have as auto number and the primary key there. Then teacher name, that way. Then we save that one as class teachers. We also need to include class. That is class ID. That is the class teacher is involved. Therefore, we shall have the classes. Like now, we have been told we have 5 streams. Therefore, you can still go to create. Oh, sorry. We are supposed to create table, not query. Therefore, you can still go to create. Then we go to table design. We create class ID. Still, this one can be auto number and the primary key. Then class name. Therefore, that is classes. Still, we have class. That is, you can just have the form, and then class. So this is the form. This is the class. Now we need this one to be displayed as form. Therefore, we shall go to caption and write form. We need this one to be displayed as class. Therefore, you go and say class. That way, we save. Therefore, here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 classes. Then streams. Now we can have Kenya, Congo, North, Everest, Kilimanjaro, then Aragon. Those are this is our class. We have 5 streams, and every stream will have form 1 all of these, form 2 all of these, form 3 all of these, form 4 all of these. Therefore, you can see what caption has done. If you are very keen, you will notice that I have used FM, I have used CLS, but it is displaying otherwise. That is how caption works. This one, you see now, this one class is written as class up down here. Form, caption is form, because I need that one displayed. Therefore, after doing that, you can go back to class teachers. I go to class teacher design view. Now class teacher, that is this one. If you open classes, we have FM, that is, we have FM and class. So you can still have the same in the class teacher. This one, you can call it FM. This one, you can call it class. Therefore, the class teacher will get data use lookup wizard. The form will get data. I want the lookup field. This one, we shall use this option here. This one, that I want the lookup field to get the value from another table or query. Therefore, that is the option we shall use other than the one we are used to, and therefore this one will allow us to choose where we are getting it from this table here. Therefore, we are getting our data from this table classes. Then you just go to next, which field FM is getting from FM. Therefore, you just click on next, then finish. Then we go to class. Now remember we are creating relationships. Class will get data from next, we'll get data from this table, but which field? Class. If I just go to next, finish, like that. Therefore, I have created a relationship. That means if I run class teacher, you see, class teacher is now reading data from classes. Class is reading data from this one. Therefore, if I include another class here, class number 6, if I add class number 6 here and call it Turner, that way it will automatically be reflected here when I refresh this one by pressing F5, you see. Therefore, this becomes very easy for me to work on the lookup wizard. Therefore, this is how you create the that one. Therefore, you can remove this one. You can see I have already created relationships. This plus sign, these ones are relationships. This one, they are showing you that this is related to the other one. Therefore, let's proceed by creating the tables. Then we also need to create a table. That is, we have created tables for available posts. Then we need to create the master table. Therefore, we go to design. Now, this table will have admission number. This is for the students. It will have the student name. It will also have the form where the student comes from, class. This should be number. Then we shall have that is, you can include the year, student year. Remember, you cannot use year, but I need this one to be displayed as year. Therefore, that's how you go about it. This one I want it displayed as form. Then class, I need this one be displayed as class. Then I will need to have the other field there for the students. We shall include the posts they will be choosing. Like now, we shall have DH, that is for the dining hall. DH, this is dining hall. Then I shall have library. This is for library captain or prefect. Then they also choose head girl. This is head girl. They can also be displayed as head girl. DH will be displayed as dining hall. Then we have games. Then we shall have form cap. This is form captain. Then we shall have the prefect. That is the class prefect. This is class prefect. Class prefect will be chosen there. Then after doing so, this is the primary key. We don't need the duplications. Student name, year this should be number. The year should be number. And now this table is called students. Then this is the table that will help us to have proposers and that is proposers and opposers. Then you can go on and create another table. Create table design. Now we create votes. We shall have admission number. The admission number. This will be now our this one will be this for the votes. It will be our foreign key. Therefore, it will not be the primary key here. Therefore, you can have serial number, which is auto number, as primary key. This table will depend on students. Therefore, V stands for votes, votes admission number, to avoid confusion. Then we shall have the V here, that is number. That is a number. V here, this is now the votes here. This is the votes admission number. Then we shall have the seat or post. You can call the word post. Now this is the seat. Slide 4. Then we shall have can have the classes. We shall have the total for form 1, form 2 that way. Therefore we shall have now our form, that is the class. Right now we need to first of all to have the total, that is the total votes, that is number. Then we shall have the position. Position should be text. Therefore you can first of all leave that one as that. That's votes. Then after having that one, we shall have another table for vetting table, admission number, that is V, and vet admission number, that is admission number for the student. This can be the primary key, because we shall only copy paste when we have vetted contestant. This is the name of the student contesting. Then we shall have the form of the class of the student and the class where the student comes from. Then we shall have the post the student is vying for. Then status, qualified, yes or no. This one will be yes or no. This is the status of if the contestant is qualified for the post. That one will be done by the administrator. Then we have two types of vetters. We can call it the officer. The officer vetting, this is the teacher or administrator vetting, e.g. deputy principal or class teacher. Then that is the officer. Then from there we shall that table is complete that way. Therefore that we can call it contestants, vetting. Therefore this one will be the vetting table. When you talk about proposers and proposers, you can just use this one. Copy this one and then paste as proposers proposals, seconders, proposal seconders. You can call it that way. Therefore, basically, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 7 tables that will be involved in the creation of Rehema School Prefects Electoral System. Therefore, thank you very much for watching. Tune up and keep on checking. I will be uploading video number 2. That is Rehema Prefects Electoral System Part 2. That way, I will be dealing with queries. Then we shall go to forms. Then we finish with votes. This one for the votes. Remember, the votes will be gotten from each and every class. And therefore, since we have our classes as these ones, then we shall have the that is every class, Form 1 Kenya, Form 2 Kenya, that way downwards up to the last part here. Therefore, what we need to do is to create each and every class that is vote, and therefore we shall have the votes downwards here. Like now we shall have for 1 Kenya, that is for 1 Kenya. We go down to Kenya, that way downwards. Alternatively, it can be arranged for Form 1 downwards, Form 2 downwards, Form that way. Then we can just have for the streams Form 3 Kenya. Then we shall have Form 4 Kenya. Then this one should now be number. Now the total will have the total of the collected votes that will be fed inside here. If I shall continue that way downwards, we go to the next, continue typing this way until now you type the last stream. The last stream is Aragon, this way, so that you can be in a position to have the totals for the streams. Therefore, your table will look like this. Remember, the tallying is manual. The system should only get the totals and produce the required. That is the system will only produce the required things, like from the question, the winner, adequate proposals, who is who. That is the list of this one. Therefore, you are not going past the question, and therefore this is what you are supposed to do. This one will help you to get the form stream winner from 1 Kenya, from 2 Kenya, from the votes keyed in by the class teachers. So we created the tables and have now fed data for the students. Then there is also data available for class teachers. Therefore, this is how the class teachers will look. This is how it should look like, that every class has a class teacher. Therefore, after now doing so, we proceed to queries. Therefore, let's go and create a query. Therefore, you just go to design view. Then the first query should be that is of votes, then students, because the students are the one that will actually be voting. Therefore, these two tables need to be linked, and it is very important to note the field that is foreign key and the field that is the primary key. Now remember, in the parent table, we should not have duplications, but in the child table, that is the votes, because one student will vote many posts, we don't need the student to appear as if he is duplicated. Therefore, after doing so, we shall drop the fields. We drop these fields by double clicking on them. Then we proceed like that. Then we can come to the other table. We drop these ones. But remember, we shall change the class and form. We shall add letter V so that this can read V form, V class, just like we have done here, S here and this, to avoid confusion. Therefore, we shall do that one. Then we can proceed position Kenya 3 Kenya. Then we can go to we are in 3 Kenya. Can go to 4 Kenya. 4 Kenya. Wrong. That way we proceed doing that one. Then we are in Kilimanjaro. We drop 1 Kilimanjaro. 3 Ergon. 4 Ergon. Okay, that way. Therefore, this is how that one will look. Therefore, I can save this query of ours as combined, because it is actually combining the two. Therefore, when we run this one, you may not see data. Data will not be actually available until we make the relationship or joins. Therefore, we right click this one, then go to design view. First of all, we have agreed. We change this one. We add letter V to avoid confusion. Therefore, we go back to our votes table, go to design view, then we add letter V just to indicate where that form comes from. Therefore, it should look like that one. Now the query should update that one automatically. So if we go to where they are, the query should actually update that one. Yeah, you see, the query has updated V form, V class. Then now from here, we can assign joins or relationships, whereby we shall instruct the database engine that this one is equal to this one, and therefore data type must be the same. Then the records from parent table should be included to the child table. Therefore, the arrow should face that way. Then this one should equate to that one. We double click. We use the same. That one should equate to that one. Then this one should equate to this one. To this one. That is how that one should look like. Then the S here should also equate to the V here. That way. Then from there we can save this one and run. Let's try to look at our data types. Now, in case you get a mismatch, that we solve that one by going to the tables. We open the mother table in design view. Also, we open the child table in design view. Therefore, the V admission number is number, the form is number, the class is text, year is number. Therefore, even in the other table, they should be exact. Therefore, this is the error. The error, this should be number. Now we have seen that one should be number for equation purposes. Then this is number. This is text. The others are correct. Therefore, you can go back to our query. Very good. You can see it has worked. Therefore, the problem was the data type. The data type must equate. Therefore, you can see now data has been duplicated. Then the next thing we should do is to go back to go back to the student. Now when we shall be vetting the posts, the students who qualify for this post after the vetting should be the ones that should be duplicated here. They should be duplicated here, and therefore these two tables, and that is this one, and that is the votes and the That is the votes and the vetting should be connected. In that, we should only get the qualified contestants being displayed in this other table. Therefore, you shall also look at that one. Then you can proceed to creating a query from this table alone. Therefore, you can just go to create. Then we go to, in case you are creating a single query from a single table, you can just use the wizard. It is easier. Therefore, you only go to use students, send everything, click on finish. Therefore, this one is students query. You can edit, right click, then go to rename. You can remove the space that way. Then you can create a query for votes. Go to query design. Okay, votes, send everything. Next, finish. Then close this one. This is the votes query. Right click. Then scroll back that one to remove space. Then you can create a query for electoral posts. Just do the same query wizard. Next, then we are creating for electoral posts. Therefore, you can send everything. This one is electoral post query. Remember, you cannot call the query and table the same name. That is not possible. Then we can also create a query for class teachers. Next, just choose class teachers. Then send everything. Next, this is class teachers query. Then finish. Then we have the query for classes. Query design. Go to next, classes, send everything. Next, finish. Then go and edit. That is class query. Right click, go to rename. Then you can have that one that way. Therefore, that is the next step of creating the queries. And therefore, after doing that, a table that will be used to indicate the qualified contestants will be manually copied from the vetting table. If you just go to create table design, now this one will have the admission number of the contestants, the name of the contestant, form of which he or comes from, and the class. Then if it is DH, if it is head boy, if it's head boy, if it's head girl, if it's library, if it's DH, dining hall, we have done the games. Then from captain, then our class prefect. Therefore, you can also include the level of the, that is the level. You can use the lookup wizard. Then I'll type. So we have the school level or the form level. School level. Class level. Then this one should be number. This one should be number, and the primary key, you don't need to brackets there. Then class number. These others are should be remained that way. Therefore, this is contestants. Therefore, you shall have a table of that manner, so that whatever will be fed here, this one will be manually fed after vetting. Therefore, after the student who have applied for various posts have been vetted, they will be copied to this table. Then once they are copied from this table, this table, that is the vote, that is this one, votes will be fed now from the that is the whatever those students who have been vetted here will actually be copied here. We shall now see so and so is vying for this, so and so is also vying for the other or the other. Then we can look at our combined query. Therefore, you expect the contestants to appear here so that if this guy is voting for DH, he just chooses from the ones that are here. And therefore, after vetting, we shall expect now the contestants to be brought here. And therefore, you can just go to this one. This one is the same table that will be used to choose proposers and that is proposers and stakeholders. And therefore, we can create that query for proposers and stakeholders. Just go and copy the student's query. We paste it again. You can just call this one propose and seconders. Proposer seconders. That way. Then go to design view of this one. We can run and see how it looks like. Therefore, this is where the proposers and seconders will be chosen from. On the same note, the same can be done by copying this one, by copying the student's copy table, and you duplicate it again. Consider have it proposers and second. We also need to change our classes. Remember, our classes are Kenya, Longonot, Everest, Kilimanjaro, and therefore this is how our data should look like, so that when we go to our query that is combined, we shall now have the same data duplicated. Therefore, that is also something important, that we had to change the classes to meet our create, then from design, then pull this one, right click, go to page header and footer, then you can pull that one aside. Then we start by assigning a color, or you can even assign a picture, but color is more favorable. Then you can choose different colors for every part, that is for the various parts of a form. Then from here, you need to tell the Microsoft Access where you are getting data from. You go to design, then you go to property sheet, and the property sheet, this one, you go and choose form. Then you need it to be at or here. Then record source, we are getting our data from combined. Like for example, you're getting our data from, if we want to deal with the students, you can just go to students query. Then we need first of all to have the registration form for students. Therefore, we go to add existing, then arrange these ones, admission number, let's put them here, then we shall arrange them. Now I would opt to use the combined query. If I just go to property sheet, we change this one to combined query. This one combined. Then we click on. We now bring the data to this point. This is the admission number of the student. Then we also have the V admission number. Now this is the foreign key, should not be visible. Therefore, you only put it there on top of this one. Then go back to our add existing. This then you go to student name. Then we have the form and the class. therefore this one should be our form. Then we have our grass is a bit longer. Kenya Rongonaut, but it can remain that way. Then we still go and get the related fields, the ones that we use to equate. Now these two should not be visible, therefore visible, no. Then you can just reduce them because they are not actually even being visible. Therefore, you can just place them here. And then we go to the next one. We can include the year, the S year, and also the related field. This one should not be visible from the child table. Just say visible now. You can just place it there. Then we need to have the class. Okay, we have the class. We have that one. Yeah, that one is actually enough for the registration. Therefore, it didn't actually require to have a very long form. Then from there, you pull the foot upwards. You pull the foot upwards up to that point. Then we can have our title here. That is Rehema School Prefects Electoral System Registration Form. Then you can format that one by going to format. Then you can increase the font size. You can increase the font size to accommodate registration, to accommodate everything. Then you can choose a narrow, that is some narrow text for that is type of font. Then we can have go to design, then take this one. This one we can now call it the registration form. Registration form for voters. This is where the voters will be registered. That way, and you can have it bigger and bold. Then we need to put the captions for these ones. So this is the admission number. This is the student name or the voter name. Then we have the form, class, and the year. That way, you can also format that one to some other color, and also bold. Maybe says 13. We take this one backwards to that point. Yeah, good. Then after doing so, we can save this form of us as registration that way. Then we need to go to design. Then we go to properties. Then at this point, default view. That is the default view here. This one, we need to change that one by double clicking. It should actually read continuous form. Therefore, this one you should always change that one. This one should always be changed. Therefore, always do that. Then after doing that, you can run now, and then you can see this is how our registration of voters looks like. Therefore, this is just for registration, that you just go to the last cell here, then you can register a new member, and all of them will be displayed in this form. Therefore, that's how we create the registration form for voters. Then we can proceed. On the same note, we can just copy this one, then paste it again. Now this time around, we want to create proposals, and seconders, Therefore, for proposals and seconders, I use the same data. Therefore, it is still getting from this query. But in case this query, you feel that this query is more convenient, you can still copy this. But there is not much data, therefore just continue editing now this form. This time round, this is now not registration, but this is now the proposals and seconders. Now, when you talk about proposals and seconders, this form will be a bit longer because when I now go to add a existing list, I've been in a position now to add the posts. That is the posts. I'll start with the dining hall. Currently, you can cut this, then paste it here, and then you can drag and drop this one here. Then we shall change the color. Therefore, this is the DH. Then we can go to library. You still cut this one. You paste it up here. Then you can use the arrow keys to bring it to focus, just like I am doing. Then we can bring our library there. Then change go to format. We change the color. Then can bring a header. You copy, paste, then bring it using the arrow keys on your keyboard. Therefore, this is our header. Our header will be displayed there. Then change that. Then we shall have our games captain. You cut, you paste, bring it using the arrow key. You press the arrow key, then you can now drag it around to where you want. This is our games captain. For this one, will help us to choose the seconders for games captain for the other person, the other post, that way. Then we shall have the form captain. Cut, paste. Then we can have this one brought to this point here. This is our form captain. Then we shall have the form captain games. Those are the available. We have library not yet. Library is already there, but we see there is no head boy. Therefore, we can still go back and add the head boy. For so far, if I run this one, this is how these guys will be choosing. They will be choosing their candidates here. Their candidates will be displayed here, and then they can be in a position to choose. If I can still pull this up to make it even more better, like that, then we can go back and realize that the head boy is not available. If I go to design view, see whether there is head boy. There is no head boy. If I go back to students table, go to design view and add head boy. HB. Now this is head boy. Head boy. Save that one. Go back to query. Right click, design view. Add the head boy now. The head boy is already now in order. Then you can go back to your form. Right click, design view. Pull over. Then go to add existing. Now you can see the head boy should be the last guy here. Therefore, we can remove this. Then bring the head boy there. The head boy, you can use a control to right now. This is the head boy. Then format just like I have done for the others. That way. Then now from there we can just now do the necessary, run our form. Therefore, this is how our proposers and seconders form look like. This is where we shall be now choosing the proposers and seconders from this point. Proposers and seconders. Good. Can make it even better. Then we go to home and run, see how it looks like. Therefore, Rehema Prefects electro system proposers and seconders. Therefore, this is where we shall be choosing the proposers from various classes, and then shall be in a position now to see 20 is so big. Can put something like 14. Something like 14. I can edit them accordingly to make sure that they are bold and readable. From captain, then the head boy should look like that one. Therefore, this is how our data so far looks like. Proposers and seconders. So almost 20. Yeah, good. Therefore, that's how our system so far looks like. Therefore, we shall have the proposers and seconders being chosen from this form for every candidate according to how they are supposed to be actually selected or voted for. Therefore, then we have this one. This is for the that is for the registration. You can still bring this to somewhere there. That way. Good. Therefore, you can have our registration form looking like that for various students. Then we can still go ahead and look at the other form. Now, the other form will be the vetting form. We can have the vetting form. Therefore, we can just go to create. Then we go to design. Then we allocate the form header and footer. Then get data. Where are we getting data from? We are getting data from vetting. Vetting. Where is our vetting query? We can get our data from vetting table. Then we can arrange now this one. We have that the admission number. Then we have the form of the student. Then we have the class. We have the post. Okay, shall I add the name? We forgot to put the name. Then the status, whether the student is qualified. That is whether he or she is qualified for the post. Then who is vetting this student? The officer. Is it the class teacher or the deputy principal? Then the contestant should be the name now. Contestant should be the name of this guy contesting for which post. Then from here we can have the label. Here. Caption. This is the admission number of the student, the form, the class, student name, post, status, then the officer, the vetting officer. Then from here we can format that one to look attractive and have it a bigger size. Pause. Can add should look like that one. Then this one should be almost at that point. Then from there we have the heading up here. That is the Rehema School Prefects Electoral system. Then we also need to format it accordingly. Therefore, we can have something of the sort. System. Then we can have the other label here. Now this is vetting window. I can just go to format, and this one correct bold. Then we choose an attractive color for this one. Can also choose a different color for that one. Then you need to pull this one upwards up to that point. Then save. This is vetting. Then once you do that, you need to go again to design. Then you go to properties. Then you choose form here. Then this point here, default view, you set it to continuous form so that you can display each and every student. Currently, we have not gotten proposals and seconders, and therefore the vetting window for now is blank because we have not yet now gotten the contestants, so that we can actually vet them after being vetted by the student. The student start, then the the officer finalizes, then takes them to the voter for now voting. Therefore, that's the assumption. Then now after doing this, we may also need to have this is enough for the registration. We may also need to have a form for voting now, where voting will take place. And therefore, for voting, we can just copy this one. That is for the proposers and seconders. Paste it. This one we call it voting. That is for the voting form. Then we just go to where the voting form is. Go to design view. We can change this one. We can change this one that we need voting process window. Voting process window. After this, where voting will take place. Therefore, you can still go to format. Use a different color. Then we can then we change the background to something different. Now let's see how our voting windows looks like. Voting window. Now for this is our voting window. Now for our voting window, we shall have we shall have the different, not so much different from the vetting, because actually every student must vote. But remember, voting is manual. Therefore, this one may not be so necessary. But for the purpose of marks for forms, this one remains there. Therefore, this one will not actually be used, but the voting should actually look like this. But the contestants will be displayed here at the next part. I will be doing that. But for now, we need to create a vote counting window. If we go to create, then we go to design, then we right click, go to form header and footer, pull this down a bit, then we can have the votes counter, form. This is where the class teachers will bring the votes. Therefore, the votes will be brought here. Therefore, we just go to design, then we go to label. We can draw this one for us, Rehema School Prefects Electoral System. Then we do just like we are doing in the others. Just go to this point. You can put 60 and see how 60 looks like. Format, put 40, 35. Now that is good. Then can change this one to 50. That way, then you assign them the colors. Then you can, okay, you have saved it as vote counter. Then go back to design. Then now this is votes capture. Then we can go to format, go to a different window. that way. Then we now need to get data. Where are we getting our data from? We are getting our data from votes query. If I just go to design, properties, we choose our form here, then go to our record source, we choose votes query. Then we can save, close this one, then go back to design, add existing list. Now this time around, there is a bit of some work. Therefore, we need to have the votes. That we shall have the person, the contestant, admission number. Then we shall also have the name of the contestant. That is, we have the post. We just have the post. Then we have the total somewhere. Then we shall have the, now this one's arranged as they come from one Kenya. We arrange all of them this way, that way, up to the last. Then we can still go back to design, add existing. Then we go back to our query, go back to our query voting, votes. We add this field contestants that was missing. If we go back to votes counter, we go to design, we go to add existing. Now bring this guy here, the contestant. That is the contestant. Then the class. Which class does this guy comes from? The class and the form. That is the stream that this guy comes from. That way. Therefore, after doing so, you need to bring these ones upward. You bring this upward up to that point, and then you can now put the labels. That is, you put this one here all the way to the end. Here we have the contestant. Have the contestant there. Then we have the form, grass, post. Then we have Kenya, stream. We have Rongonaut stream. Then we have Everest stream. Then we have Kilimanjaro. Then we have our stream is Ergon. I still have this to total and position total. Therefore, after doing this, we can go back and put that one to bold and assign it color black that way. Then we go to whatever we usually do. Every form, go to design view, then choose form. Make sure here it's actually continuous form. Then save, then run, see how what you have. Therefore, so far we don't have the contestants selected, but basically this is how it will look like. Kenya, it will have Kenya stream form. You can also go ahead and have these ones formatted to a different color. That is stream Kenya. That is stream Rongonaut. Then we have Everest remaining that way. Then we go to Kilimanjaro format and give it okay. It can mean that just for the purpose of separation. Therefore, you can see that there we have stream Kenya, stream Rongonaut, stream Everest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Our 5 streams. Our 5 streams will look like that, and therefore this is where the votes will be counted. Contestant, post, and votes scored from different streams. Then the total, and then the position will be somewhere there. Therefore, then this is for the vetting, this is for registration, this is for the proposers and opposers. Therefore, thank you very much for watching. Make sure you keep tuned for the next part 4. Now, in the next part, we shall be capturing the votes and getting the winners, and also doing the last part. That one will be giving the voters list, contestants for each post, list of class teachers, list of winners, looking for any spoiled votes, list of any contestants with their votes scanned, and therefore that one will be our final part. Therefore, keep tuned so that you can also be in a position to get that one. Therefore, thank you very much. Let's create the vetting form. Just go to create, then we go to form design, we right click, go to form header and footer. Then this is our form header. Then we tell access where to get data. We are getting data from vetting. So we go to form, and then we go to vetting. That is vetting. You cross that one. Then you go to design again. Design. Then these are the feeds. If you can just bring the admission number. We need the admission number there. We need the form of the student. Form. Then we need the class. Then we can have the post, have the head boy. I can also have something like the library. Then we have form captain, then I can have the DH, therefore we continue dropping the feeds and arranging them that we have done with placing that way. Then we can assign the that is the label here. You can assign the label for these feeds. So we have the admission number, you have form and class. So this is the head boy, library, form captain, the dining hall prefect, and this is the vetting officer. Then we can try to format this one to look attractive. You can also format this one, format that way, then probably change the, then after doing so you can assign some color here to avoid it being left white. Then we can just pull this upwards up to that point. Then we have our heading, our heading should go here. Rehema Prefects, Rehema School system. Then you can increase the font size that way. Then after doing so, you need to have another small heading here showing that this is the vetting form. You also do the same, you edit vetting form. Good. Then the last thing you usually do on the forms, this is vetting. You go to design, property sheet, then you change here. We change default view to continuous, then you save your work. If after saving, you can run this one to see how it looks like. If we look at our form looks like this one. Then you can go back to design and check in case we did not probably drop any of the feeds. Yeah, this one we did not put this. We left a field here. This one for qualification. This is for ticking whether the candidate has qualified or not. Therefore, status. You can talk of qualified, yes or no. Therefore, we need that one so that we can tick that one accordingly, depending on whether the candidate has qualified for the post or not. Therefore, our form is like that. That is the vetting form. And therefore, what will happen if a student is vying for head boy? If there are several, there will be several. several librarians, several that way, then they can be actually be removed from here. Then this form will determine whoever will appear here, whoever will now appear at this point, and also whoever will appear at this point will depend on the vetting form. Therefore, I'll go ahead and assign some students, few students who are contesting, that is the contestants, that they can be vetted. Then once they have been vetted, they can appear here as these ones can just actually second them, so that now we can go to the voting, which is manual. Then once the voting is complete, various votes. These are the contestants who I'm using for demonstration, just for you to understand. Therefore, these are our contestants. Now, these contestants, we want to vet them to see who have qualified and who have not qualified. Therefore, you can still feed the others. This is just for demonstration purposes. Therefore, for example, the first guy, 9,000, form 3, is actually vying for head boy. He's actually vying for head boy. Therefore, something like this should not now actually be happening here. Therefore, it should be somebody different now. For we want to have the feeds demonstration. Therefore, like this one, now we feed the way it's supposed to be. Therefore, that one is vying for head boy. Those ones, for example, are vying for head boy. This is vying for something like a class prefect and has qualified. Then library, we can have somebody else, for example, a form 4. Somebody like that. Now, these are the content. Now, this one should actually be vying for library. Now, let's assume those are the, also this one is vying for library. Now, it should look like that. That's how it should be fed. Nobody should actually be vying for more than one seat. Therefore, if the administration is vetting for these guys, like for example, this one has not qualified, but this one has qualified, that is according to the deputy principal. Then for this one, the first one and that one has qualified, and then the person who is actually doing the vetting are these ones. Therefore, what happens after we have ticked this? Just there is no coding involved, just putting data type of yes and no. After doing this, if now I go to this, that is my proposers and seconders. After I now combine the two feeds through a lookup wizard, I'll be in a position now to get the people, that is the seat for the head boy, those ones who have been vetted appearing, and also for the library, those ones who have been vetted appearing. Therefore, the rest now, the voters list, that is the students, we go to design view. Like for example, we can use head boy and library for demonstration. Therefore, I go to head boy, then I use the lookup wizard, then I use this option. I want the lookup field to get values from a table. Then I go next. I choose queries. I'm using the vetting query. If I go next, now I want to use the head boy. Therefore, the head boy next. Next. finish. Therefore I have combined that one. Then I also now go for the library. For the library I do the same lookup wizard. Next I use query vetting. Next then I scroll down and get the library. Then I go next, finish. Then I save. Therefore, let's see whether that one is actually happening. Therefore, when I go to head boy, therefore when I go to proposers field here, we just now will drop this one. That is for the head boy. We go to design, then add existing. Now we drop the head boy again. Since now we have combined, therefore you should do this step after combining that one. Then we go to library. You can also drop the library here after now vetting. Let's use those two for demonstration purposes. And then after now doing this, I save that one and then I run. Therefore, you'll notice that during vetting, after vetting, only the person who has been vetted can really appear here. Also for the library, you can see only the two qualified, Rashid and the other, and therefore when somebody is proposing or seconding, he or she cannot second both. He can only second one. Therefore, like now this person here has actually proposed for this one. Then somebody else can also second that after this one, this is the person I want. Therefore, if we agree to are seconding, like now this one can be proposed. This one can be proposed, then can be seconded by that one. Meaning that this guy now has qualified for the next step. That is for the next step that they can agree that this person will be now in the ballot. Therefore, that's how you do the seconders and filtering of this one. Therefore, if you add somebody else, like now for the head boy, the only person qualified was this. Therefore, let's assume more of them qualified, and therefore we just go and dig that all of them has qualified. Therefore, if I refresh this one by pressing F5 on the keyboard, therefore you can see now. You can see that they have all now appeared on the proposers and seconders, and therefore they can be elected. They can be elected here. Therefore, you can just try to see who has been proposed by many. You can do the same here. Then you can have somebody like this one proposed. This one we have Jones, Rashid. This one has voted for that one. Therefore, after now having this, we shall find out the person with a higher number of proposers and opposers. Therefore, let's go to that step of getting to know. Right now for the head boy and for the library, the two that I have used for demonstration, who among these has many proposers and seconders? Also this one, who among these two guys is favorite? Know who has the high number of proposers and seconders. Therefore, you can just demonstrate using the head boy, and therefore you have the names of the guys who were vetted. Therefore, you can now like have the first guy, Kiprop B, then Kiprop B is the first guy here. That is for the head boy. For the head boy, we can just go and type here head boy. This is for the head boy. Therefore, we have that guy. We also have Muhammad Ali. Therefore, you can just go and take a label for Muhammad Ali. Okay. Then we have another guy there. The other one is John, is Otindo. Then we also have another guy who also qualified, who is John Como. Therefore, you also type that one there. Then you can make this colorful so that it can be something organized. Now you want to see among these guys by help of a formula, who among them is the favorite, or who has many proposers and seconders. Therefore, you use a function called d count, and therefore you just go and take you just go and take a text box, then draw it here. Draw wrong a bit just to help you see the formula I'm using, and therefore we shall be in a position to use the formula here. Therefore, the formula is called dsum. That is dsum. That is d count. D count. We shall use d count, and therefore it is written as d count. D count. What are we counting? Therefore, we are counting head boy. Then from where? From a table called students. Where head boy equals to like now we can have the first guy there, John Como. Then because it is text, you can cross using the single quotes like that. Then you click outside. Therefore, in case there is an error, there is a missing parenthesis. Therefore, you'll be in a position to see that you have not put the crossing parenthesis. Therefore, our formula looks like that. And therefore, from there, you can just go and try to see whether that one will count. Therefore, then from there you can still edit the formula by checking on where probably you went wrong. Therefore, we need to have the crossing. We put the crossing quotes here. We need the crossing quotes there, and also here opening quotes. We need opening quotes there. Then we can go back and see we have good. Therefore, you have seen it has worked. That John Kiprop has one follower. Therefore, once we have that one, we can now copy this formula to the rest of the feeds, but now we change the name of the contestant. Like now this one, this is for Kiprop, should be there. If I can also draw another one for this gentleman, this is Muhammad Ari. Then we paste it there. Then we need his name. Therefore, we go to our formula. We go until to where the name of the boy is John Como. We paste Muhammad Ari there, like that. Then we continue doing that for the rest of the contestants. Then once you are done with this one, you can now proceed to checking. Therefore, this one will tell us how many followers each one of these ones has, and therefore we can be in a position now to know who is favorite, for these students. Therefore, you can just now run this one. Therefore, this one is actually doing the counts, and you can see the counts. This is the counts showing you how many followers does this person have. Therefore, the count will help you to go far and do each of. You can now go for library. Each below each you do this, then you'll be in a position to see. Therefore, as you choose more, you'll notice that with the time the system will auto update and count who among these guys are favorites. Therefore, you can see the system is updating. It is actually updating on as votes come in. You're in a position to see who is favorite. Therefore, as the student clicks on like this one, then the system will automatically now update and show you among these ones who is favorite of the students. Therefore, that's how you go about on using the function, this function here, that is the D count function. It will help you to accomplish that one. Then after doing that one, we needed to go and see how now these people who have been selected, how their votes will be counted. Therefore, the first thing, you will need to create a table for each post. Like now the head boy, the contestants who have qualified will be copied here. Then once they have been copied from the classes they are in, votes, position, then the votes will automatically be captured here. And then you can also see the positioning. Therefore, we shall still use the head boy for demonstration. Therefore, first of all, now that we have seen among this one who has the first two. After now having this one, we can now take all of them or the first two. For now, let's use all of them. That is the 3, 1, 2, these 4 boys. Let's use them for demonstration and assume that they have all been vetted. And now now let's use the head boy for demonstration. Therefore, we can create a form. This form, you can just go and use the form wizard. We are creating using the head boy. Then we said everything, we go to next. I'm using it. We created a tabular form. Just call it head boy, then finish. Now let's see how it looks like. Good. Therefore, this is what we have. Now, after having this one, we can rearrange this form of ours just to make it look nice. Just format it a bit. Therefore, we have the actual votes. Then positions should switch from this point here. And therefore, can have this one switching to this position so that we can have spoiled votes here. The actual votes. Then can still have this one pulled a bit so that our contestant name can actually appear. Then we can make it legible. Therefore, we shall have our positioning here depending on the votes. Therefore, after now having such a form, you have a form for every contestant. That is for form. That is for the. That is for the. That is for each and every post. And therefore, for the votes, if for example there is Kiprop, the class teacher or the teacher involved brings the votes, and then probably there are some spoiled votes like that one. Therefore, the actual votes will be calculated here. Then, for example, this one scored 560, and I had 100 spoiled votes. Therefore, these were the total votes, then spoiled votes. Then we can have, for example, this one had 56. This one did not participate. For example, this is 120. This one did not participate. This add to 30 and 12 spoiled votes. Therefore, if you have something of the sort, now you want the system to automatically find for you the positions here, then you will use D count. You shall use D count formula here to calculate to calculate for us the position. Therefore, you just go to design view. Then once you go to design view, you go to this point, you can draw a text box here. This is text 17. Now once you draw that text 17, you equate this field. You can copy that one. Therefore, you equate that field by saying equals square bracket that field. I have just pasted by pressing Ctrl V after copying this. Therefore, we have seen it is text 17. Therefore, that is our equation. Then from there, we shall type our formula here. That is our D count formula. You can just go to properties. Then you see the point to type it. That is, we are typing our formula inside here. Position. Therefore, our formula goes equals to D count. That is, you start by opening the bracket, D count, then you open the bracket. What are we counting? We are counting actual votes. You cross the quotation marks. We are counting that one from where? From our table name. Our table name is head boy. We are counting from head boy. That is our table should be called head boy. Then comma. Then the field that you are counting again. You put quotation marks, then square bracket, field, that is our field, which should be now greater than text 17, that is our equation, the field we have used for equation. Then our field again, that one should be greater than 0. Then this one should plus 1 increment. Then we can try to see what the error is. Then from there we can see what we have. Therefore, the formula looks like this. That is the D count. Therefore, D count, we are calculating the actual votes, that is the field. That is the vote cast minus spoiled from a table called head boy, where this field should be greater than our equation plus 1 for increment. Therefore, let's see what we have so far. We can also assign some color here to make this one attractive for us. That way. Therefore, when I run, you'll notice that we have the positioning accordingly, and therefore this is our positioning. This one, you can see that position 1 is actually this guy with 460. Then position 2 is this one. Therefore, we use D count function. That is the function I have used here. You can copy this one. You can copy that one. Then you can paste it here for you to see how it looks like. It's our D function, D count function. You can learn the form, then magnify this one. Therefore, this is the function. This one. This is the function that I have used to rank, and therefore you have seen it has ranked that is our head boy. You can be in a position to know that the person who has actually read is this one. This is the person who has been elected as the head boy. Therefore, this can be used to count. Therefore, this one should be repeated for the games captain, for the library, because they are actually different posts which don't depend on each other, and there is no one student who is actually vying for more than one post. Then when it comes to report, like now, to produce the list of class teachers, that one is very simple. You just go to create, then you use the report wizard. Like now, I want to create the list of class teachers. If I just go to where class teachers are, class teachers, then I send everything. I go to next. Then you can also go to next. You can choose the teacher ID as the, then you can switch descending or ascending order. Then you go to next. Then you can choose whether you want your report to be landscape or portrait. You can choose landscape if it's so large. Then you can give it the name, then you click on finish. Now once your report like this one is done, that this is the list of class teachers, then you can edit by going to design view. Then you can do the necessary editing. Like now this one you can just bring it here, then assign a heading. Like now we can have our heading here, but this is Rehema School. Rehema School Prefects Management System. Then you can click on home. Then you can do the necessary like that. Then from there you can save that one. Therefore, when you run, you will see that you have at least created a report that is on the a report on this one, that is on class teachers. Therefore, if you need to create a report for voters list, you can still get voters list from this one. Just go to create, then you go to report wizard. You are using students, therefore you can just choose the necessary fields. Those ones are the necessary ones. Then here you can choose the admission number in descending order. Then next, portrait, because we are not actually producing it. Then this is list of voters, because the students are actually the voters. Therefore, after doing that, this is the list of voters. You have this one, but in case you want the list of voters per class, then you need to go and create a query. You go and say create, then we can use query wizard. Next, now we are using students, therefore we just go and choose students. Then we are creating admission number, student name, form, class, year. That's what we need. Then you click on next. This one you can just call it class lists. Then you click on finish. Then you go to design view, right click here, then go to design view. Then you go to form, you create a parameter query. In case you're not conversant with the parameter queries, just click the link below the description. You will see I have given you a link for parameter queries. I have done a video previously on that. Therefore, you just write enter class. Then this one, this is now again enter form. Therefore, here we are actually filtering enter class, enter form. Then from there, enter class and then enter form. If we just enter class, and this one is enter form. Then after doing so, if I run, this is what will happen. I'll be asked to enter the class and then enter form. Therefore, that one will help me to do the actual filtering to produce the actual data that is required. Then you just go to the form in design view, in report, in design view, then go to design, then property sheet, you change the record source here. Change the record source. We are getting record source from class lists, not from students now. So that when I run, the first thing will be enter form. I enter form for Kenya. Therefore, I can see list of voters of form for Kenya alone. Therefore, this is how the system was supposed to be done. Therefore, thank you very much for watching. I'm sure you have gotten the skills, the ideas, the concepts, and actually the greatest. You have now the eye-opener on how the KCSE 2019 computer project, Rehema School Prefects Management System was supposed to be done. Therefore, thumbs up, give me a subscription if you have not, and also share, comment, and like my videos. Thank you very much.